Round 22 results. What a fun one for me. Gained over 200 ranks. I just wanted to let you all know that I'm jumping on Mitch's video. Matty T is in the Gold Coast, doing some work stuff. So I'm jumping on with Mitchy boy, and I just want to let him know that the train has left the station. I'm very much hoping that he catches this before we start filming. The train's gone, mate. Into 519 overall, a 962. Really, really solid week overall. Captaincy, Terrell May, what are you doing, big fella? 49 for like your lowest of the year. Thankfully, didn't lose too much out, just the 12 points on Cleary. But overall for me, just not having any of the real low ones outside of Turbo there, 32. Teddy's 36, and the standout performer of Adam Dewey. So, Mitchy boy, you're a little bit away from me now. I know you beat me every other year, basically. So, this year, it's going to be different. And he keeps claiming he's going to make the top 1,000. But to beat the big dog, mate, you got to somehow make the top 200, because that's the trajectory we are going for. So, really nice score from Watson and Angus Crichton. I really enjoyed that. Seeing Watson come off the bench and dominate like that. And a big thanks to Nicky for jumping in and going through the final 5 games of the round there, with a couple of the standouts being Scott Drinkwater. Thank you. Appreciate the 25. That was lovely. Britton Nickera, Mitch, what a good time for a 35 there. I can't wait to hear the Herbie rant from Mitchy. But Adam Dewey was the absolute GOAT. 2 length of the field efforts, one off that drop ball out the back where he picked up, and then the one from dummy half. He's electric at 7, and that's the big thing with him. And finally, it's been a while now, but since he's had just a full bill of health, a clean bill of health, and you can see over the last couple of months, even at centre there, he started to pick up his game and do some good work. Kind of the main guy that I'm missing out on up top there is Blake Brayley. We have to make some decisions this week with Herbie as our main trade out. And I personally have 3 Tigers, a decent chance that Isaiah Yeo's going to be out. And then, Garrick. What's crazy is, like, once I remove Latu, which I think is going to happen, I think I'm 40k down or something, with a 3. That was a beautiful signing off, or signing bonus, we'll say, signing off bonus for Latu Fanu with a nice 3 to boot. But there's a chance that coming into this week, after I make trades, that Ruben Garrick will be my 21st best player, which is pretty crazy to see the team values and stuff, but it also is crazy to see the fall off of Ruben Garrick. Now, 512 now, it's like, is there any value in moving him on? Because, like, the people around his price point, it's the Reece Walshes and Sneaky Brian To'o, 484. Just throw that out there. We'll probably do better. But the question's going to be, does Turbo go back to fullback, and does Garrick go back to centre? And I keep harping on about this final 4 games for Ruben, and I'm literally going to hang my hat on that one. And hopefully I do get to take a few of his scores. And this week, if he becomes my worst player, especially of the guys that are actually playing with May and Dewey, I'm going to sell Latu this week. Who is the question? Definitely. But looping week to week will be the play with him. He comes up against Raiders. It's a little bit tough. But, the rest of the squad, there's still a few 40s around. Hosking getting the lower minutes. I think he's definitely on the top chopping block for myself, because they're at a really good price at 658. You can go to so many different guys, which is awesome. It's an extra 60k to Hudson Young. It's an extra 104 for Blake Brayley. Not too far from guys like Edwards, Dearden, really loving Kai Paul. Eli Katoa's there. You got Preston at basically the same price, and with Hosking losing the minutes and then going into bye next week, it's a decent chance this week. Like, he only lost, I think, $7,000 or something like that, and he won't lose. He won't go down too far again, even if he was to hit a 41 in this coming week, which is against Manly, which should be a fun enough clash. So he's someone that I'm potentially looking at moving on. But the reason why we can do these things, guys, is the amount of trades left. So if you're sitting here with 3, it's very, very hard to move on from someone like Hosking. Guys like Celessi Fiketti, different story. Given, at least with Hosking, he'll have a role in the team, whether it's in that starting edge role if Matty Nicholson comes back, or he plays off the bench and plays a middle role, which we know he's going to get runs of the footy, he's going to get tackles, and if there do happen to be any injuries in this side, then he's going to slot back in. So I'm saying that with Fiketti as well, but in the meantime, off the bench, he's going to get 20 minutes, whereas Hosking will still be like a 40 to 50 minute guy off the bench. So if you look at the rest of the squad, like Isaiah Yeo is going to be an interesting one based on how many weeks he's going to be out for. Is it 1? Is it 2? Is it 3? Is it 0? We don't actually know. We'll wait for scans and go through that a little bit in a little bit of further detail. But in my side, I don't actually have to lock in a centre trade in, because Garrett can just come straight in for Farnworth there if I want to. But the situation I'm thinking is I probably want to buy a one centre or one wing fullback. Like if Herbie's going to be gone, then I'm sitting there with Dewey as my cover, or Karaz comes out, and once Dewey plays next week when he's back, Karaz can cover both positions. But the problem would be there is that Garrick would be a week-to-week guy, for the most part, when the odd guy has their bye, which thankfully, this week is just the one guy in Adam Dewey, and then I don't have any Sharks down there. I don't have Drinkwater, who misses the last week. No South down in that spot there, so and then no Raiders down in the wing fullback or centre spot. So you could probably get away with it, but if you just sit there with the one guy that can cover both positions, if you happen to lose someone in that centre spot, like we could here, yes, having Turbo helps, but Farnworth gone out of the side, Dewey the replacement. If you lose another centre there, or you lose another wing fullback, it just drops you down to sort of no cover for two positions. And that I find in a 21-man squad with 5 rounds to go now, the last 2 or 3 rounds, it could get really tough, even if you don't have any guys on bye. And that's where 30 ranks can be made here, 50 ranks here, all these types of things, right? So I was actually looking at the rankings and just seeing how close I was to different spots. So we'll go straight to the Podcasters League. So I moved up 1 spot into 5th, which was good after taking this one out last year. I don't think we're going to do the same, but I was just looking at Jake there, who still had a really solid week at 919, but he's ranked 418. I'm at 519. So 101 spots is only 29 points, which is pretty crazy for 100 spots. So you look up into Nick, he's in at 387, so about 130 spots, an extra 10 points exactly ahead of Jake there. And then Austin in 267, so almost half my rank. He's only just under, 95 points. 95 points different to halve my rank. So my thoughts here of trying to make sure, trying to get into the top 300 with the trades I've got available, it might be a position that if a lot of these guys happen to struggle to get into a good spot trades wise, or get a really nice 20-21 on the field there, and week to week, we can make up that 100 points in I'd say in a week. Yeah, you definitely can. Even Austin had a cracking week this week, 970, but he lost a few last week, but then gained them back. And I think he was out to 400s, or at least 450, 500, whatever he got to last week, to then push back into this really good spot. So if you get things right one week, or in this one where we could have Yo out, I think Haas likely to be fine, but May's out, so there's a couple of mids. And then if you've got Latu, if you've got Adam Dewey, if you've got Nathan Lawson, these types of guys there that are sort of duds at the bottom of the barrel, and other or not playing, you can find yourself with maybe 14 or 15 really good scorers this week. And in situations like myself where I have the 6 trades, I could use 2 or 3 and try and get a really good 17, looping. I was having a look, looping Garrick and King Tonga, who King Tonga is the GOAT, 37. How good is he? And he actually plays in an early enough game. So Garrick plays in the 3rd game of the week, and with guys on bye, it's not going to cause any problems there. Who have I got? Payne Haas, no Storm players, and then the Knights, no one at the moment. I really want Kuiper's ball. Panthers will be interesting with Isaiah Yeo, but Cleary in there probably as captain. We'll see how that one plays out. But then we could loop easily with Garrick and then decide between him and King Tonga in the game the next day. So a few things to think about, and trying to get a really, really strong 17 on the park. And maybe this is a correct week to try and push to get some ranks, or next week when the Raiders have their bye, or in 3 weeks time when it's Hines and AFB and Brayley and these kind of guys there. Because the round 26 one with South's probably less a chance to sort of catch up just on guys with bye, but definitely on teams that have run out of trades, and then round 27 will be a lottery. So each week, I think from here, poses an opportunity to go up or down in ranks tremendously. And just a quick one to have a look at with the team analyzer from 2024. Like, just looking at my team in itself, what's it called? NRL Fantasy Analysis, I believe. Or not. What did I come last year? There you go. 757. So looking at my ranks to finish off the year, it changed really dramatically. I think I went from 463 into 232 and back at 264, not too bad. 323, 568, 828. I actually improved to finish the year. There you go. But that round 26 one killed me. I think Bunnies might have the bye, or just you could go up and down really, really quickly. And I know Hayden, who ended up coming in a ninth spot, 10th spot, ninth. Yeah, Bevan was 8th, whatever it was. He just continued to climb each and every week, and so you can lose ranks really quickly and you can gain them just as fast as well. And just looking at my squad here in that year, I ended up leaving myself with 3 trades after round 21, which a lot of people have got themselves into that position. And I wasn't able to get Isaiah Yeo, who was the king in the town last year, and that's what hurt me. But just leaving 3 trades, so I wasn't able to trade for like 4 weeks, unless like serious injuries or anything like that came up, which is what happened with Cleary in 24. He got injured, and then I brought in some guys like Carrigan and DCE just to try and cover that load, and then moved on from Galvin to Ponga in the last 2 weeks. So I just wasn't really allowed to afforded the luxury to make those types of moves. And that's where, if you've got that sort of 5 to 10 trades, which teams still have like 10 trades, it's a really, really good spot and a good few weeks here to try and position yourself in a really good way to make some moves, and while still getting yourself a really nice 20 and 21, so that when, if you get down that little bit lower on trades, like I'm thinking of doing this week, you are still kind of covered positionally. And then if there are injuries, as I said, it covers the positional, but it also covers your 17 to be pretty solid as well. So it's a good thing to think of there. But the average trades in the top 1,000 now is 3.7, and just think of that across sort of the top 5K as well, that most people are going to be similar to this. So you can use it as a yardstick and a point to compare to yourself, which is good. And you can see a few of the top teams here as well, like Andrew sitting there with 3 trades, so he's ranked number 2, and the one I keep saying is the stress is ranked 3 with 9 trades. So, but if you're down here in this spot, you do have to pick a week or two where you're going to push, and maybe it's this week, maybe it's next week with Raiders, or you wait until the final 2 rounds and hope for some carnage and then make your push there. But there's a heap of different strategies to be able to use, and on a one-to-one basis, I'll be able to help in the private crew as we do. But 32 down to 0 now, 64 down to 1, and this number's going to change dramatically, I think, after this Herbie injury, given Hughes last week wasn't owned by everyone, like 50%, whereas this week Herbie's basically owned by everyone, so that number's going to drop crazily. The captainers of Cleary end up winning. Payne Haas was 2.2%, but that must have been given to Nath maybe. Anyway, but a few people use 4, a few, see 7% use 3, and 29 and 40% for 2 and 1. With the big trade into Katoa and Grant, both scoring near 50, Wishart at 37, Isaiah Yeo at 34. So pretty tough there. It took all the way down to Preston with 71 trade-ins to get over the 55 mark. And then, Galvin was brought in too for a tough score. Jaden Campbell, 43. Massive effort from those guys there. So that's the top 1,000 there, 3.7. If you're anywhere near that, I think that number will go to like 2.7 or maybe a tad lower next week. But I thought it was interesting with the podcast crew to click in and show how close everyone is, basically, apart from guys up top, and Jordan coming in at 14th is absolutely flying at the moment. I managed to win the modern private head-to-heads there. Unfortunate to Hayden there, the shower slipper. Really good score there of 920, but got the win there, and I think mainly did in most things was ranked 800 odd for the week, which was nice. Gagarov in 5th, so snuck that sudden death win there, which was good. And move into the semi-final against Gumby. Hell yeah. So that's that. private group in general, we've got Andrew still up top in the rankings, and then Jakey Boy's in 4th, Tyson's 11th, Harry's in at 13th with Nige at 15th there, and then we've got Les, Johnny rounding out the top 50 there. So yeah, still a good number of the crew in that top 50, 6 of them, and you can see there everyone else on the board there in the top 100, 13 of us, and plenty just hanging outside of that. So I think I'm still seeing at 47th. So we're on the way, we're improving, and team values are dropping dramatically. I think I lost almost, I don't know how, but apparently I lost almost 200k on the weekend. Didn't expect that. Did not expect that. So yeah, Andrew's up there with a 58-point lead. Daniel in there is second, as said, very similar trades, but Coop's the one I'm very worried about, and thankfully he's 147 points back. We've got Jakey there, very, very close to Coops, but a few less trades. And then the other guys there, all in with the hunt still, but yeah, I'm worried about the 9 trader. That's for sure. Yes, that's the general thought there. In terms of my team strategy-wise, I'll go through a little bit more with Mitchy Boy, but there's just a lack of guys that you can pick, like basically, yeah, KPP will be available this week, so just put that available symbol on it. And you got Brayley has a bye, Young has a bye remaining, Edwards, wing fullback, which we know can be up and down, and their really good run has kind of slowed down. He'll have his base stats and he'll be sweet. Dearden's there, Kaipis Paul, Katoa, Fogarty coming off a low one, then you get to down to 650s, 660s, and Carrigan, Grant, Preston, all really solid. None of them are like knock the door down type guys. Lindsay Smith could be fun if Isaiah Yo's out for a while. Kurt Donahue, loving his output at the moment. Bo Fermore's the easy centre replacement. Munster looked great in the weekend. Timoko's flying in the centres. And then it gets a bit gross outside of, Adam Fennell-Blake at 609, Jolliffe, Gagai, could all be fun. And then you're getting into some average picks, and you've got like Ice Paps, if he ends up with a decent role. He scored well on the weekend. Reece Walsh, these types of guys there. So it's not all sunshines and rainbows and easy, guys to replace, but we will get into all of that in the best buys and following TLT once we've learnt some more. But yeah, that's my squad at the moment. Hopefully can use this next few weeks to finally get into top 500 for the year. And thankfully it's been a nice improvement for a while there. Like I was back in the start of the buy period, I've kind of held strong for a while in at 1333. So improved kind of nicely across the season into 866, then 772, 734, and into 519. So big movement here, and hopefully we can do the same. And just a big shout out to Adam Dewey. We love you. And I hope you enjoyed this round of results, guys. And we'll get the video out with Mitch tomorrow. It'll be Mitch versus Jamie, and I can't wait to hear his Farnworth rant. It'll be good fun. See you guys. Tune into that.